Well, it's all been incredibly exhausting. Yo, what's happening, friends? How you doing? Welcome on back to Football Therapy with me, your host, Jan. I do hope you're doing well, as always. I really do hope that, and welcome on back to Chelsea News. Of course, this is the daily series here on the channel where I'll reflect on what's being said about Chelsea Football Club. I give you my thoughts on it, but as always, more importantly, ask for yours. Mental game last night. A lot of the talking points in today's Chelsea News will be a reflection on that catastrophic, but ultimately triumphant game. Very peculiar indeed. The news part of this video will be Maresca's response to Liam Delap. To me, that's such a big element of, that story. And of course, we'll pick out some players to talk about who should be coming in, who should be coming out. Is it time for Slonina to be Chelsea's second choice goalkeeper? Jamie Gittens, is he the best choice for starting left winger? Of course, we've got the latest cup draw, which I'll speak about as well. And Andre Santos learning what he can offer Chelsea and where to play him to see the best of him as well. I'll be very interested in getting all your thoughts. I didn't sleep well last night. I basically slept an hour late in the morning. My brain was scrambled. I'm going to start doing match reactions the following day after evening games. I think I've said that on a community post here on the channel because I can't unwind after having studio lights on me thinking about Chelsea's always dramatic games. They're never chilled and simple, so it fries my brain. For the good of my health, I'll probably start doing that. But I'm going to march on through for this video because there are some very important talking points I want to deliver to you guys today. So thank you as always for joining me. Thank you as always for supporting this content on the channel. What is it? 6 years and counting. What a wonderful community here. The GOAT gang on Football Therapy. Very close to 200,000 subscribers. So thank you for liking the video. Thank you for subscribing, hitting the bell, hyping it up, all the nice supportive stuff. And yeah, let's get into it. Right, starting off with the cup draw on the Carabao Cup for the quarter-final. Chelsea have drawn Cardiff City away. Now, of course, this is the easiest opposition we could have drawn in the quarter-final. The only way this could have been better is, of course, had we got a home draw. That would have been incredibly lucky indeed. But if you look at all the other teams left in the competition, they can all beat Chelsea right now. So if we can utilise this next fixture, hopefully get through against Cardiff away. It's still an away game under the lights, probably. You know, Chelsea, I mean, Wolves are ostensibly a terrible team. And we absolutely, nearly completely butchered that game last night. So, we mustn't take Cardiff City for granted despite being, are they League One? I mean, they beat Championship Wrexham to get there. Look, it's an easy draw for us, the easiest. We need to win it, and by the time, should we, touch wood, reach the semi-final, we are in much better sorts to beat what will be a really good semi-final opposition. But look, it's great. Look, ultimately, there's so many talking points about the discipline, the players that need to come out, the players that need to come in. But we've got through that game, Molineux away, when they rallied the second half. The crowd got behind the team. With all our issues, we got through. No injuries. We'll speak about Delap in just a second. And we've got a really excellent draw for the quarter-final. So that's what we will reflect on in the history books, but in the more immediate term, we need to discuss all these issues, and there's still positives as well that we can reflect on. I mean, it's probably good at this point that I remind you that I did do a match reaction to that crazy game where I take you through the timeline, speak about the statistics, and we reflect in a bit more in detail on what was an insane affair at Molineux. So if you're yet to watch/listen to my match reaction, go seek it out, because I feel like I picked the bones out of it well, but I was all over the gaff, probably like you were as well, guys. So tricky. Right, next up, let's see what the Chelsea manager Enzo Maresca had to say about his young striker Liam Delap. Aggregating the quotes from Sky Sports, Maresca said the following about Liam Delap's red card. Very stupid red card. That was completely unnecessary. It was absolutely deserved. It was a stupid foul. We can avoid that. I completely support the red card. Ooh. He also said on a different interview, after the yellow card, I told him 4 or 5 times, keep calm. But Liam is a player inside the pitch, playing the game for himself, and he struggles to see things around him. He added, "It's an embarrassing when you get a red card like today. It's embarrassing, 2 cards in 7 minutes. Both can be avoided." Wow. Embarrassing, few minutes, totally deserved. He's a player that thinks of himself. These are pointed, harsh, but deserved words from the Chelsea manager. I must say I endorse it. If you look at my match reaction, and indeed like me on social media and Instagram, I was going in on Liam Delap. I was just like, I thought it was abhorrent, behaviour on the pitch from him. I thought it was disappointing is not the word. I thought it was pretty disgraceful, actually. And I when I was laying in bed, not being able to sleep, I was thinking, was I going too mental on that? But I'm pleased to see, since, a lot of Chelsea fans feel the same way as me, and indeed the manager, that he's defended some other cards, like the Trev Chalobah and the Robert Sanchez, rush of blood to head. He's like, I kind of get it. Don't do it again, though. The others are, whatever. There's so many now. I think it's 6 red cards in 9 games, yeah? 6 red cards in 9 games. It's got to be a record. Do you remember when everyone was laughing at Arteta's Arsenal for just constantly getting red cards? I think David Luiz was still there. He got a couple of them. And for a while, there was like, Arsenal's discipline. We're smashing that out of the water. Like, completely and entirely. You could say, well, we've got a slightly, better excuse because we're such a young team. There's a statistic floating around after yesterday's game about 4 under 21 different players scoring, and yet again, we're breaking records for young players scoring. Yeah, because we're putting young players on the pitch, it's gonna happen. Look, I like it. It's nice stats, it's positive vibes, young players scoring goals, they've got the whole future ahead of them. If they start developing and building, chemistry now, scoring goals, we should, in theory, have a lot to look forward to. But 6 red cards in 9 games is absolutely disgraceful. If we could just get it down to a red card every other game, that would be an improvement. Even that would be absolutely insane. It's insane. Look, Liam Delap came on and behaved like a child, and there was a lot of that. I was a bit disappointed with Tyreek George as well. He was just desperate for a red card. He was elbowing everyone all over the gaff. Like, we know he's physical, we know he likes a fight, and a little bit of that's good, a la Diego Costa, but he's also a good footballer. He's strong, he can score goals, he can drive a team up the pitch, and I said in my match review, that was the exact game state when we needed him to retain the ball and drag us up the pitch when Wolves found some confidence. Not get sent off, you whopper. I'm pleased Maresca went in on him, I totally agree. And hopefully he can reflect on that and, grow up a little bit, because that was absolute nonsense. He'll be suspended for the Tottenham game, so we could have done with him probably in the second half or whatever. But to be honest, if he's going to perform like that at the moment, it's better off he goes and sorts his head out. Do you know what I mean? So we'll see what happens there. Right, let's move on. We're going to speak about one more negative-ish story and then sort of 2 success stories and players. Let's talk about the goalkeeper. So Philip Jorgensen, not for the first time this season, put in an absolute awful performance. Yes, he made 1 good save, but if you look at his general play in goal, how he doesn't command his area, how he doesn't invoke any confidence in the players in front of him, it was a bit of a disaster class. Now, we've seen that all season. There's such a thing in life, and indeed in football in this case, called emotional contagion. People speak about it in group stuff, work, atmospheres. I always talk about there's a theatre of football, and the team sort of takes on a role. Like, we're going to be these guys. It's Act 2 now, and this is happening, so we're just going to let this happen to us. Special players break through that narrative, whether it's a defender leading by example and rallying the team like a John Terry, or it's an attacker that sort of pierces through the multiverse and goes, no, I'm going to change this. Gittens kind of did that yesterday. We'll speak about him. Eden Hazard was one of those players, and of course he absolutely deserves a mention in this video, Eden Hazard, for being inducted into the Premier League Hall of Fame. It's an absolute no-brainer. He's the, when I was going to the bridge a lot and I went to a few cup finals watching Chelsea, he's the best player I've ever watched live. And I've seen a few good ones as well. He's a dying breed of footballer, a true joyful entertainer. I was so happy he didn't go to Man City. He would have been an awful, I think he was linked with Man City and Man United before he came to Chelsea. But, eventually played under Guardiola. I don't think would have been a good thing for Hazard. But a true entertainer, a joy on the pitch. Just needed to sort of obviously reference that. He absolutely deserves a mention. And yeah, Philip Jorgensen, just the emotional contagion from the back to front, especially in that game, petulance at the front from the forwards, shakiness at the back, Tosin getting into fights when he's supposed to be the leader. No wonder like we folded and started behaving like kids. You know, you need grown-ups on the pitch, and if there was ever a game that demonstrates the need for experience and maturity in a team, it was that game, wasn't it? Look, I'm not here to say anything horrible about Jorgensen. I just don't think he's a Chelsea quality goalkeeper at any level. Second choice. We spent a lot of money on him. They've obviously saw stuff when he was playing for Villarreal where they were like identified certain data points and they were like, yeah, this is what we need in Chelsea's project. He's obviously young still, especially young for a goalkeeper. And look, maybe he's going to have a great career somewhere. For me, I'm done with both our goalkeepers. At least Robert Sanchez has at times some authority and knows what he wants to do. And more than anything else, he's played enough with the players so they know generally what he does. Jorgensen, no one knows what Jorgensen does, and when he does stuff, it's not good. You know, so I've seen enough. Genuinely a huge concern. Huge concern. I would buy 2 new goalkeepers, mate. Do you know what I mean? Or, like, you know, would Penders want to be a second choice at Chelsea? I think he's got to be a first choice. Whether it's another season at Strasbourg, whether it's a higher level loan, I don't know. We'll see what happens. But maybe Penders finishes this season so strongly, he undeniably becomes Chelsea's number 1. It's a long shot, but it could happen. And then Chelsea come in and buy a different number 2, or Gaga gets given a chance this season, Slonina, and then plays, and he becomes the number 2. I'm sure Slonina would accept being Chelsea's number 2 to raise his profile for a while, just being on the pitch, you know, for a club that plays twice a week most of the time. But yeah, Jorgensen, bro. I think it is Jorgensen and not Jurgensen. I think it's a hard J. Hopefully, I won't have to be concerned about how to say his name much longer. Look, he's not for me. I genuinely wouldn't play him again. I guess Cardiff away, that's got his name all over it. But Carabao, bro, they've been winning games in the Champions League. You know, when these fixtures came out, Carabao would have had Jorgensen's name all over it. But the way they've been playing and the way he's been playing, you've got Cardiff, mate, and that's, you know, until the FA Cup starts, that's it. And other games, I'd give Gaga a go. I know he's signed for a lot of money, Jorgensen. You know, and he probably thinking, because he played the Conference League final, I think. He's probably been made promises, but I've seen enough. Anyway, let me know your thoughts. Let's move on and make it a little bit more positive, and let's talk about Jamie Gittens. Undisputably, man of the match against Wolves at Molineux. We've seen flashes from Jamie Gittens of his ability. Now, I have been banging the drum on this channel that he is a very talented player. Not necessarily because I personally have watched loads of games of him playing for Dortmund, but that I've been listening to experts who know a lot more about him, and a few specials from Seb Stafford-Bloor, German football expert for The Athletic, saying this kid is special, he's dynamite, he's fast, he's an amazing dribbler, and he's a good finisher. I've been saying he's a good finisher. I'd pulled up data points over and over and over on the channel, showing that, you know, when he shoots, often he does score. He's not like these players that pops off shots all the time and doesn't score. And he scored an absolute belter from nowhere, a bolt from the blue, which turned out to be the winner for Chelsea yesterday. We thought it was the buffer to see us over the line, but it was the winner. And boy, what a goal it was. It was an absolute super shot. It was a little bit like that Salah goal the other day when Liverpool were playing really badly and he just whipped a worldie out of nowhere. But Gittens wasn't playing badly. He was playing really well. He had a couple of assists. He was doing really, really well, and he whipped out that goal, and it was so important. I'm so pleased for him. He's already got a Man of the Match award in the Champions League for Chelsea, and he's different to Garnacho. I've been saying Garnacho's right now Chelsea's starting left winger. He's a bit more devastating running in behind, and he's very direct, Garnacho, but he's direct and he'll put in more crosses for other players. So he'll do more cutbacks, more crosses, look for players all the time, you know, run too close to goal and quickly try and set someone up, Garnacho, where Gittens is a little bit more like Jadon Sancho, but dare I say a better player. He really fast. He's much faster than Sancho, Gittens, but he'll slow the game right down. And I love how he dribbles. He, you know, whenever the players roll their studs over the ball when they're looking at the opposition, and he uses the outside of his boot to like stroke it as he's running. You know, he's got this delicate grace with how he ball carries, and he's could be very, very good. Yeah, he could be very good. They are different, so I understand horses for courses. Maresca will look at certain game states and be like, this is for Jamie Gittens. Garnacho scored a great goal as well the other day. You know, nutmeg finish on the keeper. So it's good for Chelsea amidst all this concern and, you know, discipline issues and dysfunction and petulance and whatever. There are green shoots and positive signs, and Jamie Gittens and that finish and his performance generally do him a world of good. He's got a man of the match I think he would have won man of the match in that game, I'm assuming. Right? Like, we know Stevao's exciting. He's trying overhead kicks. He's scoring goals on the regs. Nice finishes. He's dynamic. But he's also erratic. He's getting bookings. He might not be tracking back, but he's 18. He doesn't speak English. He'll be amazing. He'll start for Chelsea soon enough. But like in the meantime, we need to rely on players like Gittens, who's played in, you know, a European top 5 league over 100 times. So yeah, very, very positive news, and I'm delighted for the lad, and hopefully, you know, we see much more of him when he keeps scoring, and we've got more positivity to grasp onto, which leads me on to the final talking point of this video, and that is Andre Santos. Now, Santos has been a Chelsea player for a little while now, lest we forget. We agreed to sign him, but we had to send him back to Vasco da Gama because of visa issues, and then of course he captained Brazil's under-20 side to a championship wearing the captain's armband, I think being top scorer for midfield as well. Somehow that helped his visa. He comes to Chelsea, he gets a 6-month loan to Nottingham Forest, which goes really poorly. And then, of course, the second part of that season, he goes to Strasbourg and then completes an entire year there, so doing 18 months. So he's been a Chelsea player for, what, 2.5 years or something? He was a teenager when we signed him. He's 21 now. You know, he's got a growing family as a young man, which frightens me as a 36-year-old with no children. But, you know, he's got a lot on. He's learned to speak French and English. There's a lot happening for a young person developing in life and indeed your footballing career. But he's a very versatile player. We've seen him play defensive midfield quite well. He's good at tackling. But Enzo Maresca sees him in the Enzo Fernandez role in his system. And I can kind of see why. Look, I think in that defensive role, you've of course got Caicedo. But then you've got Asugo. We mustn't forget about that lad. He's meant to be the backup to Caicedo, yeah. So that's him there. Laviz kind of plays in the defensive sector of the pitch, but he's not like that. He's not so much an interceptor. He's like a sort of catalyst to make your team better. I've always said that about Lavia. He's a bit of a supercharger to make you break down defenses better and function better. But I think Lavia needs to be playing with the big boys. You don't put him in with the B team, he doesn't get to shine as well. But Santos, the more opportunities, I think he'll remind everyone he's this world-class talent, yeah? He was an insanely good midfielder, scoring loads of goals for Strasbourg, putting in these top metrics for tackles, interceptions, goals, getting assists, running around, pressing. He's the sort of conventional box-to-box midfielder. And if you consider in Maresca's system, certainly this season, the most ground covered is by Enzo Fernandez. But you think, I always joke, because Fernandez isn't a fast player, you don't look at him thinking he's covering the pitch like Kante always did. You just sort of think, yeah, he's working hard and then he's into it. But he covers the most ground, Fernandez. But with Andre Santos, you feel like the eye test would serve more that kind of box-to-box tackling, high press. Of course, he got the assist for Stevao's chip, didn't he, in that game yesterday, from pressing the defender on the ball and, doing a high turnover. So important, these high turnovers. And, that's the kind of Enzo Fernandez role, a little bit further up, pressing and harrying, getting back when you need to, and finishing. He scores goals, Andre Santos. He's a great finisher. Now, of course, Fernandez does too, and assists, and can score penalties, free kicks, and takes corners. I'm not trying to demean or bench Enzo Fernandez, but I'm trying to remind, all of us, including myself, the immense quality of Andre Santos and how he can be relied upon in games like yesterday, but indeed against high-profile opposition. And a lot of people who know a lot about football will say Santos should be in Chelsea's starting lineup, whether you move things around to accommodate him, or maybe eventually he does bench Enzo Fernandez. He's that good. Anyway, I've spoken about everything I wanted to speak about in today's video, so give me your thoughts down in the comment section below. I'll thank you as always for supporting the content, for liking and subscribing, hitting the bell if you've subscribed, hyping up the video of those hype points underneath the video. And I hope to see you back here very soon. Take care. Peace.
You ain't so tough with that bad boy tuck. I'ma get it how I'm living, I'ma walk the walk. Outline my lines, I rap through thought. Body bag the verse, outlined in chalk. In my life seen trouble, hustle on the double. Silence on the trigger like my pick got a muzzle. Yo chick like to guzzle, bad boy stay in trouble. I only love this paper, sorry I don't. I laugh me bitch.